Yeah, they're very important, obviously, because West Virginia will probably throw the deepest group of bigs at us in our league, and of course they're talented, and they whipped up on us pretty good last year. The bigs did, especially in our building. First half, they totally dominated. So we're going to have to be – we'll have to be good across the board, and our guards certainly have to rebound. But, yeah, David and Mitch play is going to be very important.
Hey, Bill, in the past, Marcus has kind of guarded Derek Culver. It seems like he's fared actually pretty well against him. What do you think it is about Marcus that's made that matchup good for him?
Well, Derek's a better player this year, I think, than he has been. He's putting up more numbers. And I don't think that it's a great matchup on paper for us, just from a standing height standpoint. But Marcus did have a great second half against them in Morgantown last year. I mean, that game probably did as much for him winning National Defensive Player of the Year as any game did all year long. And he was actually, he guarded everybody. He was matched up with Derek some, but he guarded everybody. And I don't look to him being the guy on Derek, but I do think there will be times where he is, just because we switch so much. I can't remember last year if he guarded him by design or if he just started on him because we were switching. I can't remember exactly, but he'll play a key role on our defensive scheme without question. Anybody else? Hey, thanks for coming, guys.
So what did the tape show of the Texas Tech game? Was the defense excellent?
I would say our defense was pretty good. I would say theirs was really good. We had enough guys make plays, but those that's going to be hard. Our league's going to be hard to score in, just because there's so many good defensive teams in our league, and Texas Tech is without question one of them. The team we're playing tomorrow night is another one of them. I'm not into the analytics as much as maybe some of you are, but just in general, to have 5 teams or something close to that in the top 10 in defensive efficiency is pretty remarkable, even though not everybody has the same sample size or the same samples. We'll know a lot more about our league in general after everybody plays 2 or 3 league games to get more of an accurate assessment on the analytics of it. But West Virginia is very good defensively, and I actually think that we're gaining on it. If we can rebound the ball, our first shot defense has been pretty good.
Bill, what do you want to go ahead?
With the Big 12 having conference games early in the season, how important is it for you to get the younger guys a chance to face great teams like Tech and West Virginia for experience factor?
Well, I think in a perfect world it's important, but that's not what our mission is. We played – well, what have we played? 4? Have we played 4 games against ranked opponents so far? So, you would hope that you'd get them the experience prior to league play, but you don't really look to get guys experience after you start league play. You look to play them in certain situations that can help you, but our in a perfect world, it'd be great to play our young kids all 15 minutes at least in a perfect world, but that's not how it's going to play out. And we got to play to try to win the game. And we don't have one more game on our schedule that you can look at and say, well, we hope we can get these young guys some minutes. We don't have one more. I mean, so there could be game situations that dictate it, but going into it, I don't see any more games on our schedule that will allow us to go into it thinking we can get guys experience.
Bill, what do you want to see your big guys, particularly David, on the offensive end? Not just this game, but kind of going forward.
And CJ, you face pops up, so I think I owe you a phone call too. So I just remembered that when you came up. But what are you saying to get our big guys going besides Jalen? Is that what the question was?
No. What do you think? What do you want to see from your big guys just going forward on the offensive end?
Well, I really think that we need to quit thinking about what we really, in a perfect world, want to see. I think we need to be thinking about it in more simplistic ways of, rebounding outside your area, being a physical presence each possession, give them something to guard as you post, try to score before you catch, a quicker move on the post, limit your bounces. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could do that don't really say points and rebounds, so to speak. I think, can we get out of the ball screen quicker? Can we force people to do a certain thing when we set the ball screen at the correct angle? I mean, there's a lot of things that I think carry a lot of value that a big brings to the table without necessarily meaning points, but it allows us to have a good offensive possession. A good ball screen big creates angles. So therefore now for guards can get in the paint, touch the paint, and then you can play behind that. And I think there's just so many things that we can do better. And there's some things that we've done better than what statistics probably say. But I would say for me, with our bigs, just an activity level of points and an activity level, posting strong from sealing, from ball screen defense, being higher on the floor, active hands. Those are the things that I like to see. And then when you worry about those things and you complete those assignments, you're going to score more points because you're worrying about all the right things. I think sometimes we get in a situation, well, we need David to do this or we need David to do that from a point standpoint. And I think that's telling him the totally wrong thing. I think you worry about what you can control, and those things happen naturally.
Cool. Thank you.
Talk about your first shot defense. I know you were excited about the length and some of the things you can do on the perimeter. What do you
I cannot hear if somebody's talking.
You got me now?
Go ahead.
You got me?
I got you now. Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about first shot defense and how good it's been this year. What do you attribute first shot defense to?
What was it? What do you attribute? Matt, you're hard to hear for some reason.
Yeah,
I got it.
There you go.
I got a microphone now. You were just talking about your first shot defense, and I know you like your length and some of the things on the perimeter, but is there anything you can point to specifically that you like about that first shot defense and why that's been so good?
Well, I think historically it's been pretty good every year for the most part. I mean, I think with West Virginia, the game actually starts when the ball actually is shot, in large part, because that's why we've got to do a better job on the defensive glass than what we've done against them in years past. But getting a team to take guarded or semi-guarded shots, I think, is the key to your first shot defense. And then being able to finish possessions is the next biggest key. And we haven't finished possessions. I mean, I don't know how many times this year, Matt, that we've allowed teams to score with under 3 or 4 seconds on the shot clock. We haven't finished possessions. I mean, it's the worst that we've ever been at that. And some of them are just good offensive plays, but some of them are breakdowns. And then you play your butt off for 30 seconds and the other team secures, then it's a wasted 30%. It's a wasted effort in large part. So I think that positioning and our switches and stuff like that, I think we've done okay with that. And we haven't given up a ton of easy looks early in the clock, except maybe to Gonzaga. And then our biggest weakness is just closing out the possessions. But I don't know if there's anything that you can attribute it to as much as it is, guys are, for the most part, have been in a stance and ready to guard. We just have to complete the possessions.
I also wanted to ask you about, you both have played Gonzaga. Do you look at that much? Is there anything you can take from their game against them and see anything?
I can take that they played them a lot better than we did. Even though, it was a one possession game with us with 9 minutes left, but it felt like they had controlled the game the whole time, even though it was a one possession game with 9 minutes left. In their game, they punched Gonzaga in the mouth. They led at halftime. They controlled the first half. And with about 10 minutes left, it's anybody's game, just like ours was. But in their game, it felt like West Virginia could win. In our game, it felt like Gonzaga eventually was going to break away. So I what I take from that game is that, West Virginia's played a great schedule also. And their most impressive game was probably not Gonzaga. It was probably Richmond. And I take away a lot in that, obviously they're not going to go anywhere. Obviously they'll be jacked to play. Obviously they always seem to play well in our building. And then they got perimeter shooters around 2 post guys, which they haven't consistently had in the past, which makes them harder to guard.
Coach, you had mentioned past matchups with Bob Huggins teams. As far as like defensively, you talked about how strong the league is, but as far as like this West Virginia team goes, where do you feel like their strength is defensively versus the teams you faced in the past?
Well, they have their own version of Carter on the perimeter in McBride. I mean, he creates havoc a lot like Carter did, and Carter was National Defensive Player of the Year, so that's a big time compliment. And then the other players are people that we've seen. They may not be hitting you quite as hot full court as what they had maybe when they had Miles and Carter and Tariq Phillip and those guys, but they're doing it different. They're still pressuring you every possession, and they're taking a player out of the game, maybe with face guarding or whatnot, and then they're hitting us with a soft press that can become hot at any time. It's a little bit different, but it still makes you compete every possession to get it across half court. And I think that's always been one of Hug's biggest qualities as a coach is he can shorten the clock down so much by making you worry about things in the non-scoring area, so you're not as good when you do get in the scoring area. And I think he's been a master of that over time.
Got time for one more.
Bill, number 3 versus number 7 before Christmas. How big a game is this?
I haven't seen the polls today. So what are we?
We're 3, they're 5.
Oh, so it's 3 versus 5. Okay. So, it would have to rank as one of the, I don't know positive, one of the 5 biggest pre-Christmas games of the college season so far. They are 7. Okay, excuse me. It's 3 versus 7. My SID. It's hard to get any accurate information from our sports information director, who's an expert at all this. But I do think it would have to rank as one of the 5 top, one of the 5 to 10 top matchups before Christmas, and a lot of times, if you go back and you really study the games that we played, the games have actually lived up to the hype. And that doesn't happen very often. We've had some great games with them, especially in our building.